We have rode around to the last Monday of June already. Can y'all believe it? My, oh my. Here we are, June 29th, getting ready to roll on into, well, actually getting ready to, we have rolled on into July 4th week here at WLS. And man, I tell you what, we've got a good week planned. It's going to be a toasty one. We'll talk a little bit about that later on, but we're going to have us a toasty one, it sounds like. Good morning, Seth. Hope everything's good your way from all the rain over the weekend. My goodness, we had a lot of rain in this part of the country, Kentucky, southern Indiana, and I guess it went on down into portions of eastern Tennessee and on from there. But man, quite a bit. Hope, but we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But hope everybody had a good weekend, and hopefully you got to do a few things. Had a really good weekend personally myself. Friday, I went to see Bill Engvall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, uh, crabgrass and nutsedge season will be amongst. That is true. Yeah, that's right. Um, Seth said they had over 10 inches. So, wow. I know we had quite a bit here, man. I think um, 6 inches, 7 inches, something is what I dumped out. I had a thing on my deck, and it was crazy. We had our fair share, so it's not an official measurement. I don't know what the airport says we had, official measurement wise, but it was quite a bit. So definitely overachieved. I was reading an article actually about it yesterday, and it said that it was what they call a once in every 200-year storm, but it doesn't mean it'll be 200 years before it'll happen again, which I mean, it makes sense, but you think, well, if it's every 200 years, but it's based on the percentages of opportunity it would be about every 200 years, but it could happen again next week, next month, or even, next year. So it's one of those situations where, okay, we're going to say it's a once in every 200 years because that's really what I thought I've heard before people would say, well, man, that was a once in every 100-year flood. Well, okay, well, cool. It's kind of like pandemics, right? About every 100 years we have a pandemic, but I mean, it could happen any time, I guess. But speaking of weird weather, Katie was just telling me that there was an earthquake in western part of Kentucky, Evansville, Illinois. I think it was actually the what do they call it, epicenter or whatever um, of it was Illinois, but they felt it as far east as Evansville area and whatnot. So, hey, Aaron Walls, if you're listening to us, buddy, be curious to know if you felt it down your way because he'd be right on the fringe to all that. So we need to check on our buddy Aaron too, man. They had quite a bit of rain his way, from what I understand, and we'll see if he had to move his camper out because he's got a great spot right on the water and leading to the Ohio River. So I don't know if he had to move his camper or not over the weekend. So speaking of which, I had some friends of ours that were camping. Not Timmy and Robin, not my very best friends. They were camping in the same campground, but they were having their family reunion thing going on this weekend down at a campground called Holmes Bend on Green River. And Fudge and Terry, that man, they had water coming in their camper pretty aggressively. So yeah, that kind of stank it up for the day. But anyways, yeah, Friday, I want to get back to my Friday night adventure. I went to see Bill Engvall. He was in Louisville at the place called the Palace, and that was really, really a good time. I really enjoyed the heck out of that. And if ever you get a chance to see him, I would certainly recommend it. He's got a good, he's still really good at what he does. He actually was saying, and I didn't realize this, but he had retired pretty much for a couple years, but then decided he was going to come back and do a few shows a year. So yeah, that was really neat getting to see him, and it was really neat watching somebody do a comedy show that wasn't filled. And I'm not a fuddy dud. I'm really not. I mean, I can take any kind of language, and I got a pretty diverse vocabulary. myself. But he did his host show without a lot of words that are commonly used in comedy. We'll leave it at that. So it was kind of neat to know that hey, these guys are still rocking and rolling and being pretty funny. And I know I saw him and Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy. Seems like there was and what was the long hair guy? Uh, God, Ron White. Saw the four of them down there several years ago when they were doing that comedy tour. I think it was the four of them. I know it was at least Bill Engvall and Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy, and that was really cool. So I don't know. I guess it's just down to Jeff Foxworthy now is who I'm waiting on to see because I saw the other guy. Uh, Damn, I just said his name.
Ron White.
Ron White. I've had a hard time with him this morning, Daniel. Ron White. Daniel is here to save the day. But Tabitha and I went to see him, and Daniel and Caitlin. We went to see him, and he was completely changed. He's at that point was no longer drinking, and had a ponytail and was looking a little bit older. We all are though, so that was that. But Bill Engvall was really good. And Saturday, I was planning on going to the lake, and we're actually on my way down to uh, family reunion. I talked about that Friday on my show with you guys, and man, it was coming down. And but I mean, the timing. I'd reached out to my guys at BAM Weather, right, and they're like, "Yeah, it's going to rain on you, but you're going to have a pretty good break, and they'll probably be able to get their dinner in, and whatnot, and have 4 or 5 hours of break." So that's what we were counting on. And we got all the way down to Campbellsville, Kentucky, and Robin calls me and says, "Hey, man, they've canceled, the dinner." And I'm like, "Oh, hell." And I wouldn't have mind continuing on. They wouldn't have cared. I mean, at that point, we're 20 minutes from where we're going. And, but they're like, everybody's just kind of sitting inside their camper. And so Tabitha's like, "Man, we don't want to go down and be an inconvenience to, not Timmy and Robin. They wouldn't have cared, but, you know, they weren't sitting alone, and they were going to over to Fudge and Terry's, and they had a smaller camper there, and blah blah blah. And so we ended up turning around. But before we turned around, we drove by the state park where we normally stay, and drove through there. And they're finally doing a few things down there, but nothing to the campground to get campers in it. But they did have the pavilion, Daniel, the roof off the pavilion where they were replacing that over there. And then I did see where they had 2 truckloads of sand on the beach. And Daniel made a funny comment about that this morning. What was it that they're taking care of?
Yeah, they're getting the free amenities taken care of first.
Yeah. So, everybody can come down and do the beach and, come in and I don't know. I guess if you're not looking at it like I am from a selfish point of view, why ain't they working on the electric and the water like they say their problem is versus, but
the sand is probably easy, right? It's like, okay, well, we probably use the same company every year. They have it scheduled, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. You would probably have to go through the same steps to get a contractor for the roof of the building, right? And to redo that.
Yeah.
If they got that done and whatever.
Yeah. So Robin was saying, though, they are going to try to open up like 76 sites for generator only. So I don't know. We'll see.
Is that for like next year or?
No, like this summer, like August 1st, open up. Now, and how do you pick 76 out of whatever they got down there, 250 or whatever? I mean, I don't know how many they got, but why are you going to say 76 sites if it's generator only? Why not just open it up and, just there's no water, there's no electric. If you want to come, bring your tent, bring a camper if you want, but you're not going to have water or electric, so.
Unless they're going to do some work on some other sites potentially.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're actually going to start doing something. So I'll keep you guys posted. But anyway, I did decide I'm going to do a little camping. I did decide that. Actually, yesterday, Lee Handel, great friend of mine that does really good work with, what would you say he does? What is that?
Like entertainment technology, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Installs TVs and entertainment centers, any type of computer work you need. If you guys need any computer work and you're anywhere within, I don't know, 70, 80 miles of Louisville, and he'd probably travel further than that realistically within reason. And this guy's really good at what he does. It's his side gig. You know, he's like a lot of us, you know, we do more than one thing to make a living. And it's his little side gig he's got. He actually is uh, pretty high up with VA, actually, here in Louisville. But he went down to finish up my TVs and my RV for me over the weekend. So, or yesterday, we went down there, and oh my God, they installed golf simulators too. So he had a golf simulator down there. He was going to make some adjustments on for one of their customers, and that was really cool. Those things are really neat, Daniel.
Yeah,
I've only
pretty
done
crazy.
that one time when mom and were you when y'all took me to hide me out for a while before y'all did
I wasn't
my
with you, no.
40th birthday or 50th. That's my 50th birthday, wasn't it?
50, yeah.
When y'all had that big party at the house and I had no idea y'all were doing that.
Yeah.
And then, so
No, it was his birthday.
it was my birthday. So, sibling debating what it was. I think it was
Because it
my
was the day
birthday.
of, and Holly almost ruined it. Remember? You remember?
Throwing Holly under the old proverbial bus.
Well, it was the morning of, and she was like, "So should we go set the cornhole boards up outside?" I
Oh,
specifically remember this, and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" After all this time,
yeah.
you know,
That was fun. I remember her and mom end up taking me to a golf. I think it was her and mom, or
might have
maybe I'm
been.
merging two different things.
No, you were gone for part of like part of your distraction time or whatever.
Yeah, we
But
we
I'm not.
went to basketball. I think Trinity was playing basketball in the LIT thing because I think we went to that basketball, which really I didn't think about. Well, why didn't Collar Daniel going? You know, and then we went up here to Tumbleweed. Yeah. So anyway, they pulled off a hell of a surprise birthday party. We'll leave it at that. So, but anyway, God, how did we get to that point from where we started? I have no idea. But anyway, hey, I hope you guys are having a great day. Saturday, we're talking about the lake. That's what it was. And so anyway, uh, so we came back home Saturday, and I'm not trying to tell y'all a bedtime story. This is just funny, and I had no idea. So Tabitha and I decided we were going to order from Cracker Barrel Saturday night, and they got these really good dinners. Seth, you probably know this, man, or anybody listening to us. They got these things at Cracker Barrel called campfire dinners, and they got like a hamburger and a roast beef and a chicken. Well, we ordered two of the chicken campfire dinners, and we ended up getting delivered two roast beef dinners. And long story short, Tabitha called them and said, "Hey, the wrong food was delivered." Blah blah blah. And Cracker Barrel says, "Well, you're going to have to reach out to DoorDash because we got it through DoorDash." Now, this is something I didn't know because I mean, and she didn't know. We're not DoorDash professionals, okay? Like some people are. But my buddy Lee is evidently because yesterday when I was talking to him about it, he got me squared away on it. So Tabitha reached out to DoorDash and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. We'll refund your money." And it wasn't about the refund as much as we really just wanted the chicken over the roast beef but didn't want to wait another hour for it, you know. So, anyways, it did go through DoorDash. And I was like, how in the world is that DoorDash's responsibility? You know, you talk about businesses and, you know, what people know and understand about your business and how it works. After this, I got to thinking about that. I mean, what confusing things do we maybe have going on in our business that our customers would think is one way, but it's really another way? And I mean, I don't know. That's something maybe someday we can talk about on here. I just, it's not my show today, but it is something that I think we could engage in on here and talk about. You know, what's perceived by your customers that maybe is a way you do something, but really you do it a different way completely for another reason. So be something I'll certainly think about. Uh, but getting back to my DoorDash story, it evidently it's Lee was telling me yesterday that he DoorDashes quite a bit, and it's actually the driver's responsibility to check the order before they leave. The restaurant. So you actually order from DoorDash. Obviously, you go to their app, right? They reach out to the restaurant, and their driver's supposed to check the order when they pick it up. That's why the checklist is on there. But I always thought the checklist was just where the restaurant had checked the order to make sure it was right. But evidently, that's not how it works. So I don't know. I just found that to be pretty interesting myself. So, anyways, that's my weekend story. Didn't really do anything too crazy other than that. So took a 3 hour ride, an hour and a half to the lake Saturday, hour and a half back, and I did get to stop at our favorite little store there in a little community called Botland. It makes a deli sandwich anytime you want, and we did have good turkey sandwiches. We rode through there, but and a homemade brownie. So. Uh, well, Seth said, yeah, they ate at Doc Crow's Friday. Watched the DoorDash driver check the order. So there you go. That's why. So I guess it becomes a chargeback. Lee was saying it becomes a chargeback to the driver, probably, which would make sense. I mean, if he's the or she's the one that's supposed to be checking it, I guess the chargeback goes to them. So, anyways, enough of that. Enough of that. So, just curious what you guys may have planned this week. We're doing a lot of mowing today at WLS. That's our plan today. And then we're going to get some landscaping work done, 4th of July week. Well, I don't know what you guys got planned, but Friday, that's going to be our observant day. Friday will actually be what, the second or third or
I think it's the third.
The third. And it's nice. I'll tell you what, one thing I do like. Okay. Yay. Seth is leaving for Cleveland Thursday, he said. Whoop, whoop. So he's doing trimming and landscaping this week till then. So, yeah. So, family up there, Seth? Is that what's going on? Let us know, buddy. Or are you just going up there? Great Lake trip, yeah. See what it is. But, yeah, we're going to take off here Friday, and that's certainly our plan, and as the observe Friday as the holiday. So Seth said, yeah, his family's there. So, but looking forward to it. Getting that extra day's fun. I mean, we normally get a half a day here, but still it's nice when we go home this Thursday and know that, hey man, Friday. I'm trying to find something to do this weekend. Actually, I don't know. Y'all got plans this weekend, Daniel?
No? TBD. But I think yes.
Maybe Lakin.
Yeah.
I hear you. Katie, y'all doing anything crazy this weekend, or we'll figure it out? Oh, that's right. You said y'all got a pool party. Is that Friday or Saturday? Friday. Dang. All right. Well, cool, man. Well, I got to find something to do.
We could do on Thursday night. We could go. I've been waiting for a good time to do the Ohio Valley Wrestling Thursday nights.
Oh my God, is that Thursday?
Yeah, which I assume they'll probably still have it with a holiday.
Yeah, they probably got something special going on.
Probably so.
Where's that at? I mean, I know it's right here,
but I can't remember now. But
that'd be interesting.
Yeah. And it's only $12 for tickets. So it's like a 2-hour deal, an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. So it's not a whole thing.
Go over on Old Shep, Kyle said. So not too far from us. I don't know.
Dressed up, get a face paint.
We'll look at it. Yeah, a tack belt. I mean, a tack bat.
Yeah.
Remember? Oh, this is real wrestling, not real wrestling. Well, y'all know what I mean. All things considered. Oh my God. Oh, Heckman says he was in Katie's yesterday. Yeah, man, that's right down where I want to go this weekend, but they don't have any rooms available. So I asked Shannon, I said, well, if you get something that cancels, please let me know. I like that place. That's becoming my new favorite place since I can't get to the lake. And it's not a bad drive. It's about 2 hours, 20 minutes. something like that. But really fun. So yeah, I saw ag country and big deer. Seth said heck of us about that down there. So I can certainly believe that. I can certainly believe that just in what I see when I go through it on my way to what is it, Grand Rivers, Grand Rivers. So, but just curious, you guys give paid days off for holidays during the summer? How do you handle those, or do you work them? And we'll see it both ways. You know, we for us we it's a paid day off for our people as long as they don't have an unexcused absence in between holidays. Is how we do it for our hourly people. Is as long as they don't have an unexcused absence in between, like Memorial Day to Fourth of July to Labor Day to Thanksgiving, whatever. Um, then that's a paid day for them. I know some companies do. Well, you got to show up the day before and the day after. Dude, I need a better commitment than that. I'm just going to say it, and I think you should require a better commitment than that. Uh, because it's hard to decide who's going to get paid, and I remember that having to decide myself. Okay, who you going to pay, who you're not going to pay, who's going to get mad because they got a holiday pay and I didn't. So the structure is pretty simple, man. If you got an excused absence, you're good. But if it's an unexcused absence uh, during those, then you don't. Uh, says yes, paid if earned. So there you go. So figure out what that means. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Corey said he not only pays himself, but he feeds himself breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
There you go.
So there we go. Speaking of Corey and Seth, tonight is our monthly roundup in the Profit Circle. So you guys that are listening to us and are even checking this out on the replay when it's up, when Daniel gets her up there tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have our monthly roundup session, and we'll go pretty quick with it tonight. I know you guys got a lot going on this week, and I can respect that time. So we'll go quick tonight, I promise, and look forward to seeing you guys there. If you'd like to hop in with us, then you're not in the Profit Circle yet. Daniel will be happy to tell you how quick and easy it is to get in there right away and join us tonight.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're listening to this live, you're already in the Profit Circle. But if you're a free member, all you have to do is upgrade to your pro membership, get the first 7 days free trial, 100% access. You can join us tonight as well as see all the content. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just go down in the description of the video. There's a link to the Profit Circle. Click the link, sign up, join us same way. Pro membership, 7-day free trial automatically starts for you, and join us tonight.
Yay. We'd love to have you. Love to have you. All right. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more Profit Time right here in the Profit Circle. Don't you go anywhere. Saw Callie over the weekend. Great young lady, office manager down there at TH Welding and Hydraulics. Matter of fact, we're taking a trailer down there to them to get a gate made for us. We got our Jackal, our Skag Jackal. We talked about that the other day. So Timmy's going to be getting a gate welded for us for that. And looking forward to putting that little rascal out in production for us sooner rather than later. And speaking of out in production, something I wanted to talk just briefly about today is found another flyer. This is in our own market here in Louisville, Kentucky. Kyle got it off social media, I guess, or something, saw it somewhere, but it's the world famous "we're going to mow your lawn cheap" kind of thing. And we're not making fun of this gentleman if by chance he's listening to us here or gets into the Profit Circle with us and hears about us. But certainly we need to reach out to this fella. Not sure if it, young guy, old guy, in between guy, but just looking at it, new customer special. and I'll let y'all look at it there if you're watching us live. But $20 small lawns, $30 medium lawns, $40 large lawns. Pricing applies to standard weekly or biweekly. So there you go. Why choose us? The flyer looks really nice in color, Daniel. I will say that it's a nice look. But one thing that why choose us underneath there, it says reliable and punctual, which is very important. Free estimates, detail oriented, and then detail oriented again. He's got like two right here, two different things. So I don't know if you'd put detail oriented on there twice to balance it out, or was it a mistake? I don't know. I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but certainly if I was detail oriented, I wouldn't make it look like a mistake, because that's the way I read it. It looked like a mistake. So,
Kind of ironic.
Yeah. So, anyways, Isaiah, we'd love to have you here in the Profit Circle with us, buddy, and we'd be happy to help you get your pricing squared away a little bit. But um, hey, to each their own, man. We all looking at stuff like that just pops me back into my mind of when I was, you know, in the business like that, not knowing, didn't know what I didn't know kind of concept. We're not going to get into that today, but I did want to share that with y'all, not to throw that person under the bus, but just that it's constantly out there, and it's everybody's market. And and speaking of that, I'm looking forward to coming up in August 20th, for you guys that listen to us up in the central Indiana area and anywhere that may want to be driving. We're going to be doing a bidding and estimating seminar in that area for the Indiana Professional Lawn and Landscape Association. So we'll put more of that out there for you guys. So looking forward to doing that. Rachel just reached out to me this morning a little bit, and we were going to be talking a little bit about what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. But yeah, we got that scheduled up and looking forward to that. So if you're in that area and would like to attend, they got a really nice day planned. There's going to be a couple different educational sessions going on. Um, I think they got another one on irrigation for you guys that are doing irrigation. That'll be going on as well, and it is a fee based. They are charging for the seminars, mine as well as the irrigation one. But like I tell you guys, it's that's not coming to me. That's their fee that they charge, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. And but certainly, I guarantee you'll find the day worth the day. And whether you decide you want to come to my presentation or sit in on the irrigation one, I just know they're a very professional association, and they're going to have a great day. There's going to be a lot of vendors there, and a lot of knowledge and education shared as well. So it's August 20th. We'll keep you posted on that and let you know what's going on. Love to have you guys come up and see us. We're going to have a good day, to say the least. Speaking of a good day, let's talk about the heat a little bit. I think we got a big old heat wave moving across the country. It's here in our area. We want to talk a little bit today, Daniel and I, and get Daniel's input on it too. But and the heat's different for different markets too. I mean, because we invariably we get guys that say, well, man, down here in Texas it's this, or down here in Florida it's this, or South Carolina it's this. And knowing that everybody's summers are different, everybody's heat's different. I mean, when I say heat's different, humidity wise, some people have more or less humidity. We've got a lot of humidity in our area, uh, compared to some, and compared to others, our humidity is not too crazy. It's going to be bad this week with all the rain we had and the evaporational, with all the sun. I'm sure it's going to be close to probably, is oppressive the right word? Maybe
Yeah.
it could be pretty close to oppressive. I know BAM's telling us that we're going to have some heat issues and probably some warnings on that. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about heat and how it affects each and every one of our businesses, a little bit differently. For us, generally July and August, September can be, hot as well. But generally, by the time we move down a little bit, um, it's backing off by the time we hit September. It could still be dry, but normally not oppressive heat. But hey, it's every year's different, and it's different for everybody's market. But the reality of it is, what do you do to prepare for the heat? And whether you're a one man operation or a multi crew company, we need to think about how we're going to do. And to Seth's point, it's going to get hot when you're in an area that gets hot in the summertime, right? And you have that heat that you're talking about 90s and near 100 and heat indexes above 105 and 110. I mean, it happens in a lot of places. So the reality of it is, it's not anything new, but what do you do in your market to plan for it and prepare for it? And I think one of the biggest things that we need to know as owners is, you know number one, take care of yourself, even as a single solo operator. That's the most important thing that you're going to do, is take care of yourself and know how you're going to take care of yourself. But if you've got employees, and even if you don't, this is probably even better, Daniel. It doesn't matter if you got employees or not, but know that your production's going to be different. There's no way you can produce the same volume of work in an oppressive heat situation. Um, is that fair to say it that way? I mean, even if you're in tip top shape, still the toll on your body at heat indexes of 100 or 105, and I mean, hell, I remember when I was in the best shape of my life out there doing this. It was still hot, and you're still sweating your butt off, and you were a different kind of tired at the end of the day. you know um, Conditioning's obviously important, right? i mean
Yeah, absolutely.
that's important to get through, but know that, hey, there's some things we can do. And number one, accept the fact that it's going to uh, be less production. That's number one. John brought that up as well. And start earlier. you know there's no reason you can't start a little bit earlier. You've got certain jobs you can't do too early, but you got jobs you can do earlier. And if you have to, I know we generally don't do this, but we'll generally get started a little bit earlier and just wrap up a little bit earlier. But know that if you need to, if you got the work volume that you got to get something done, I mean, know that you're going to be taking more breaks. Know that it's okay for your team to take more breaks. Let them know that you want them to take more breaks, because the last thing we want is heat stroke, but even heat exhaustion, or what's heat cramps and
Yeah.
all that. I mean, those are things that aren't going to do anybody any good, and they don't need to push yourself that hard. That's just my feelings on it. you know know that you're not going to have to go out and hammer it out like you normally hammer it out. And that message needs to be conveyed from you to your team, whether that's you, yourself, and I. I used to joke all the time when it was just me, I'd say me, myself, and I are going out working today, you know, and, or you've got a lot of people going out working. The point is, take care of the team first. The work will be there. If you get a customer that gets mad, too bad, so sad. The last thing you want to do is have yourself fall out or an employee fall out due to the heat. And then what have you gained? Absolutely nothing, you know? So, but realize that production's going to be less. Realize that you're going to have not just less production, but you're going to have less breaks, which in results going to affect production. but just your overall speed at which you do the job is going to be different as well. So, um, and know that it's okay to start early. Figure that out. Figure out how you're going to start earlier, get finished earlier, and and roll through it. But it's certainly not the time for somebody to be a hero. And I do want to say that again, that it's not the time for you as the owner or you expecting out of your employees uh, for everybody to be at the same level of production. Uh, and well, it's not that hot. I'm not going to drink water. Or Daniel, you brought up something about not just water, but uh, electrolytes.
Yeah.
Uh, and what's the idea with the electrolytes?
It's the electrical, system within your body that controls your heart, your muscles, all that kind of stuff. Uh, need to replenish that when you're excessively sweating. Sometimes you can get away without Gatorades and all these other things, but because you can get it in your food and stuff like that. But when you're sweating that much, you do. It's just a better idea to replenish. Even if it's just one per day. I'm not saying that's the right answer for everybody, but it's better than zero.
Zero. So don't just think water is going to do the trick.
Yes, absolutely. Because then you're going to have an imbalance. I can't remember if it's hypo or hypernatremia, I think is what it's called. But it's an imbalance of water to electrolytes in your body, which causes death potentially.
Oh
Serious
God.
issues. Yeah.
All right.
So
So
definitely need to manage that.
and provide that. Provide those drinks for people. I mean, I know Katie keeps our refrigerator full all the time, but especially this time of the year with a lot of what Gatorades and whatever that is, and we encourage that they take them with them. Take a couple. And know that you can take it, and know that if they're stopping during the day to get some more, that's fine. And I don't mean stopping here, but if they need to pull in to, quick stop or whatever, do it. Pull in, take a 15-minute stop, or if you're that's a good thing with here's what I remember too from being out in the field too, is when you're mowing lawns or you're spraying lawns, anything that's a short stop, it's a whole lot easier to do the job, get the job done, hop in the truck, and by the time you're going to your next job, you've had a chance to cool down a little bit. You've had a chance to get a drink of, water or your Powerade. Certainly, probably stay away from soft drinks. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
what about the sugar mindset behind that?
Yeah. I mean,
Or
it's not
just
a better option.
okay
Just stick with the electrolytes in the water.
in the water?
And that's obviously for all times, but especially as temperatures go up.
Yeah. So, could you overdo electrolytes?
You
Or
could, yeah. You could overdo them because, like I said, it's not just about electrolytes are important. It's about the balance of water and electrolytes, the
okay,
sodium, magnesium, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you need to balance it out. Now, if you're probably drinking like your standard Gatorade, Powerade, something like that throughout the day, and you're really sweating, you're probably not like in any serious harm of overdoing it. But let's say you have like the powder, and you're just like, oh, it says 1 scoop, but I'm really hot today, so we're gonna do 2 scoops, and you're doing more
yeah,
than what's recommended, more than what makes logical sense, just because we all have sometimes that mindset of more is better. That's probably more so the case to where you would have issues, or if you have those like Element or other kind of packages, where it comes in like it's a single serving package, which is nice, but then you're doing 2 or 3 and then drinking it in
thinking it's
a couple a
better
day,
for you.
couple double or triple servings per day. Just do the serving size and
Now, where does
mix water in with it.
where does energy drinks come into play when it's
Absolutely terrible idea.
okay?
Yeah. The caffeine is a couple 100 milligrams of caffeine is not a great way to get your body in like a good survival mode, if you want to call it that, of
All
like trying
right,
to survive the heat. Um, If you have a cup of coffee, that's fine, 60 to 90 milligrams in the morning. That's, not going to be that big of a deal. But especially if you're somebody who drinks the energy drinks, like that do contain several hundred during the middle of the day, past just the morning,
So you're
when
no,
your body's already struggling and your heart rate's already increasing, and then you're pumping more into your system to
all
jack
right.
it up even
That
more.
was going to be my question. Hey, you've been out 4 or 5 hours
Yeah.
and you feel like, man, you want to boost,
Yeah, boost it some with something else.
do it with something
Definitely.
other than a energy drink.
If you need a boost, it's probably more so because, like you're saying before, you're not giving yourself the breaks, and so you are feeling super fatigued and stuff. So just give yourself a break. That's going to be the best boost you can get. Obviously, a little bit of food and what people like to eat when it's hot is different than when it's not hot, but still making sure you're getting some food in and some calories in, even if it is very light food.
What about fruit? Is
Yeah,
fruit okay, even though it's
that's
got high sugar content?
yeah, yeah. Sugar, fruit from sugar is not the same as fruit or
Or
sugar from a candy bar, sugar from a soft drink.
okay.
It's the same in the sense that yes, sugar is sugar, but it's not the same how it interacts in your body and blood sugar spikes and all that kind of stuff. So
Heckapus said when he was in the military, they had a 3-to-1 rule: 3 waters to 1 Gatorade.
I've heard that, different things. People who can't remember, is it like Ford or something like that? Peop- People down at the lake who used to work at like Ford or did work at Ford or something like that. They would talk about like the 3 to 1 or the whatever to one ratios.
Yeah,
I can't remember what they were talking about with that specifically, but I've heard different ratios. But 3 to 1 sounds like a good
could
balance.
be a battle. Yeah,
Yeah, if you're drinking, let's say, probably like what a 28-ounce Gatorade is probably what they come in ish, and then you balance it out with a 20-ounce bottles of water or whatever, however you want to do it for the day. Is a pretty solid way to do it, I would think.
and I know something we try to do too here when it's that hot is schedule our harder stuff early.
Yeah,
I mean, none of it's easy when it's 100 degrees, but
yeah,
the more strenuous work, try to get it going and in, and that whole thing before you're hitting that 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock time frame when you're creeping in that hottest point of the day. You know,
yeah,
you know, I would always when we were doing a little bit of both when I was in the field, we'd flip it up. A lot of times we'd get our mowing done first on a normal weather day and then do our landscape. But when it got hot, we'd do the landscape side first, then the mowing, because we knew, hey, we go out and mow a yard, we're going to be able to hop in the truck for a few minutes, cool off, and you can still do that if you're on a bigger job. For you guys that are out there doing bigger jobs where you're on a job site all day or multiple days, then you're not going to have that flexibility to say, hey, man, I know we're going to be on this stop for 20 minutes and be able to hop in a truck, cool down, get something cool to drink. So the point is just know that you're going to take more breaks during the day, but also know that if you can schedule those harder jobs, if you will, um, earlier on and see if you can't get those knocked out. And if not, then you work your way through them, you know, but be careful on the volume. Seth brings a good idea here up too about volume that you're drinking because he said it's easy to overdrink, drink too much too
yeah.
fast.
Oh yeah.
So I've done that.
I
I have
remember.
done that
I remember this is
out in the
something
field.
funny from like your childhood that it just sticks with you. But in fifth grade, I played football, and you're out there and it's summer and everything, and doing all that stuff, and it's like you just want to chug, right? But like the rule was, if they see you chugging, you get in trouble. So it was like a 1 second, 2 seconds. I can't remember the exact thing now, but like you drink for 1 second, wait like 3 seconds, take another drink for a second. So you're
Mm.
not chugging, you're not making yourself feel like way down and
Right.
sick like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really great point, Seth. So careful on how you're doing it, and how much you're putting in at one time. And something that I've heard you say before, Daniel, and I think this is important for our listeners. And if you don't mind explaining it, um, John said he overdrank Saturday night.
Different kind of overdrinking. It
Speaking of
sounds like.
alcohol, though, You know,
Oh, worst thing you can do.
no, I know that.
Yeah, but
But
just in general
what
for
about
people
the
out there.
not you go home and you're like, "Man, I just want to,
Yeah,
have a drink or two beers."
worst
How
thing.
much
Still
does
the
that
worst thing you
carry
can
over
do.
to the next day?
It carries over in so many ways. I mean,
Okay.
it's dehydrating. It doesn't help you. It hinders. I would even go take it to that level. It hinders your sleep. It hinders your hydration ability and level. So just don't drink alcohol this week, basically. Or a week like this, where it's not just one day of hot; it's the whole week.
Okay.
Just wait.
Give your give your body a break and,
Yeah,
you know, don't do it. It's just because I knew I'd heard you say that one time before, or many times before, about
yeah,
the alcohol. It's not safe to get home and say, "Damn, I'm gonna have a cold beer, 2 or 3 beers, or whatever."
yeah.
You
Just because
know,
it's the end of the day, your hydration in a time like this, or in a time of this nature, is going to be a 24-hour pretty much, or waking hour priority.
yeah. All right. Well, I want to talk too about as the heat. We talk about the heat and the heavy jobs getting done a little bit earlier. Um, know that it takes your body a few days to acclimate too. And I'm no expert on this, and maybe you can explain that, Daniel, why it makes sense. But I remember the first time it got hot, it's like it really kicks your butt for a few days. How does your body acclimate? Oh, I mean, what makes your body acclimate over a couple days? And then what is that?
I don't exactly know what
Or
the
is it even a fact?
no, it is there is an acclimating portion that does happen. Um, I know there's things called like heat sensitive proteins or something like that. And there's also like cold
I didn't mean to put you on the
things.
spot with that, but
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on like the whole. I can't like explain it, but I do know there are things within the body that do kind of acclimate, if you will, or probably a better term would be like kick in. They kind of kick in more when it's hot. But um, a couple of days, to a week, I would say that's probably a pretty good time frame. And you also mentioned, the psychological factor the other day. Is it more psychological or is it more biological? Physiological. And I think there's a high level of psychological too, right? Like it's like you forget what cold is until winter rolls around. You forget what the heat is until the summer rolls around, and
yeah,
and then you remember it, and you're like, oh, I know that it's these things that suck accompany this, and after a couple of days, you're just like, this is the reality of it.
yeah,
So the psychological side is, are you going to get over it and just accept the suck of it and still obviously do the healthy things that we're talking about, or are you going to continue to complain about it?
yeah,
And that's where the psychological side does come into play, because I mean it is a big, like, the way you view a situation does impact the situation.
right.
Your perception impacts your reality. So yeah, the psychological side is I don't know if it's just as big or if it's bigger, but I know it's definitely it plays a big role.
Heck of a said. You just got to embrace the suck.
Yeah, and plus, like, especially if you're with other people, no one wants to hear
Yeah, I
this.
I used to hate that. That is so
We're
true.
all hot.
Yeah,
Everybody's hot.
it's like, oh
Everybody's
my god, it's
thirsty.
hot.
Everybody's tired. Like, just okay. We all know that. Let's just at the beginning of the day
Yeah,
say it, and that's the last time we're gonna say it, unless you need medical attention.
yeah. That's and, speaking of that, I mean, I don't know. Too, I learned something from you a year or so ago that I used to try to cool myself down the wrong way. I would always take that. I had a little rag thing that I'd get our 5 gallon cooler out and get really cold and put it on the back of my neck.
Hmm.
And I heard you talking one time that that's probably not the best thing to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've.
and if you wouldn't mind talking on that just for a minute on why it's not,
Hmm.
because I'd butcher it probably trying to talk about it.
And I heard this from someone I trust on this, so take that for what it's worth. But there's the blood vessels in your neck and in your, that region front. I'm assuming it's also the back, like, just the general wrap
The
around of the
wrap,
whole thing.
yeah,
Um, but whenever you're cooling that area, and it cools the blood in that area, and so then the cool blood goes to your brain, and your brain is like, "Oh, we're good." It's kind of like it's got like a little thermoregulator, thermosensor. It's in your brain. It's like, okay, well, our blood's at a good level here. We don't need to try to cool down, or even worse, it's the blood is so cold. Maybe we need to try to warm it up, like warm our body up. So then it's doing the opposite of what you want it to do.
yeah,
Now, I don't know the specifics of like degree of water that starts to become a problem, or whatever,
right,
but just in general, there are better ways to cool yourself down than that. That's very easy because it's like, oh, just let me get it something and wrap it around my neck and I'll continue working. But there are better areas actually of the body that do, uh, what's the best word, can't remember the terminology, but basically that pushes heat out, and that's your hands, the palms of your hands, the bottoms of your feet. So that's probably out for most people in the industry. um, but and also your forehead area. So like getting the same thing, maybe making it a little bit smaller, but putting it on your forehead and maybe tying it around. Maybe you don't do that all day, but maybe as you're doing like a break, just as a way
yeah.
to kind of expedite that cool down process. Depending on if you're working in a
What are some
specific area, it might
signs
not
that
be the
you're
best
getting
look.
overheated?
Um,
I mean, I know you're not a expert on this, but
Obviously, being super thirsty, being clammy, being forgetful, fatigue, um,
so if you're
being
with somebody,
uncoordinated.
it's a good idea to watch each other
Yeah,
then,
watch each other. If
you
someone
know.
starts stumbling a lot, forgetting, that's one. If they're like, "Oh, what we're supposed to do? What plant goes here?" If they ask you that 17 times, they may not
Yeah.
just be an idiot. They might, have a problem.
Well, and Hecka's just brought something up I was going to bring up. I know if you stop sweating,
Yeah, stopping
that's
that
really a
is,
bad sign,
yeah,
you know. So then you certainly take somebody to a cool area and let them
yeah,
cool down because they're probably on the verge of a problem.
yeah. I think, double check this, but I think when it comes to heat, you want to be careful how quickly you cool somebody. I might be wrong. That might be backwards. It might be like if you're super cold, you want to warm somebody up slowly. But I know it's one or the other. But for people that do snow and ice and do the heat related stuff, really knowing the difference between those two is super important because you can do some serious harm one way or the other.
So be aware is what it amounts to, you
Yeah.
know. Be aware of yourself. Know you're not you don't need to be a hero. Don't push yourself. And I will say I was the world's worst at that. I know I came really close to, if not having heat exhaustion once. I don't even remember going home. I really don't. And that was bad. I know it was bad. And I knew I lucked out by making it home and that whole scenario. So don't y'all ever push yourself to that point. And unfortunately, there's not a line that says, "Okay, don't." It's kind of like drinking, right?
Yeah.
There's not a line that says, "Okay, don't drink anymore." That you're going to be really in bad shape.
Yeah.
You know, this is where this is where it goes back into the pre-plan on the day. Know that hey, you're going to use some type of ratio of water versus electrolytes. Hey, if you aren't doing reoccurring service stops where hey, you're mowing residential lawns, and that's predominantly what you're doing, or you're spraying residential lawns, and you know that hey, I'm gonna be out in this 15 minutes or less, or 30 minutes, uh, then hey, I know I'm going to be good. I'm going to get me a little drink. I'm going to do the job. I'm going to come back in the truck, get a little drink, and go to my next job. But if you're in a scenario where hey, you're going to be somewhere for an hour or two, know that hey, and this is where your crew leaders have got to know too, that hey, just because you don't want to break doesn't mean that your people working with you don't want to break. And now's not the time to push somebody,
Yeah.
because the reality of it is something happens, And then what do you got? Well, you got somebody that's probably pretty sick, not going to be at work the next day or the next day because there's got to be some type of recovery period for that.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is. Sure, we could Google it, but that's probably going to be different for everybody though, because I know heat affects people differently.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like anything, but the main thing is, safety wise, it's got to start with you. It's got to start at the top. And if it's just you, owner operator, it starts at the top and stays at the top, and that's all the further it goes. But if you've got 1 or 1 million people that you're responsible for as the owner, and that's what it amounts to, you're responsible for them. You know, there's certain things we got to do, you know, and uh, and I think one thing, and we probably should have had it posted this morning, but we'll certainly get it posted up. Katie, print out the signs of a heat stroke and put it out there by our time card thing, and just for that's something to put up. I mean, it's something, hey, and it's something covered with, hey guys, it's hot, and you can sometimes take this for granted that everybody knows it's hot, but have you done your due diligence as the owner and said, hey, we got to, and I don't know that we're in that situation yet today. And BAM will notify us when we get to an extreme heat warning, you know, but hey, it's going to be hot. We're probably going to have an extreme heat warning. Today I think our hottest days are supposed to be Wednesday, Thursday, here. But the point is, hey, we get Monday and Tuesday to acclimate, but still that doesn't mean abuse yourself.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, take care of your employees. So, you live to fight another day, man. That's what it really amounts to,
Yeah.
you know.
I think
Um,
when you talk about like this person wants to break, this person doesn't. I think setting mandatory break period is the best thing, especially if you are by yourself, because it's easy to be like, okay, well, let me just do this. Let me just finish this part of this project, or, then I'll take a break. And then it's like, oh, well, I forgot to, but now, I'm kind of into something else. So I'll just finish this part, like set that timer on your phone for every how many ever minutes that you think is appropriate. And whatever, you're doing in that time period, just set it down and take that break. Even if you don't think you need it yet, even if whatever else reasoning, take that break and make them put that, mandatory break on yourself, even if it's just you.
yeah. And Corey kind of reiterated what you touched on earlier. He said, for those that, partake in liquid courage the night before, it's going to affect them sooner.
Yeah.
So know that, to Daniel's point, hey, maybe, give it up this week, for give it up your nightly routine of what it is that you like to have as your favorite libation, and knowing that you're preparing yourself for a better tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's what the reality of it is, because heat has no I don't want to say forgiveness, but it
Just
does.
doesn't care.
It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It's hot. It's going to be what it is, and it doesn't care how experienced you are. Doesn't matter that, oh man, I got to get this job done. You know, Mother Nature's always going to win unless you figure out how to work with it. I mean, that's just a reality, heat or cold, you know. So know that, hey, here's what we're going to do, and we'll probably talk about this on another show too. Late, maybe not this week, but depending on the season that we all have. But just to reiterate it with yourself and your crews that, hey, I understand our production's not going to be what it needs to be or what we want it to be on a normal basis, but during this heat issue, we're willing to accept something different. We all need to be, because by accepting less production, we're acknowledging the fact that we care about ourselves and our employees. That's the reality of it, you know, and it's best to stay safe. Drink your water, drink your electrolytes, stay off the caffeine during the day, right? Or,
Yeah.
you know,
Excessively.
you don't need an energy drink. Take a break and get you a little bite of food. And I don't know, maybe Daniel will talk about good food on one of his shows or something to eat when it's hot. I don't. There's got to be probably a snack that's better for you. Something. It would. I guess it'd be something that metabolizes fast, or
Yeah, probably you would want, and this is just general good practice for like working outdoors and like very physical job. It's going to be the same. It's just going to be more noticeable during the heat.
Yeah,
So
things are going to
things that aren't.
happen faster.
But honestly, like a lot of people probably have like some symptoms or things that they experience on a regular basis that they don't attribute to the food that they do eat, like fast food, fried foods, super fatty foods, in a not good fat, all those kind of things, like drinking a 40 ounces of a soft drink, at lunch.
It's not time to get a big gulp.
But yeah, but like it's gonna super affect you. You're gonna notice it more during the 100-degree days, but you're probably also having some symptoms, if you want to call it that, during a regular day. You just might think, oh well, that's just what happens after I eat lunch. When in
Right.
reality, that's just what happens when you eat that food for lunch.
All right. So know that it's a lot of these are going to be controllable influences that you do to your body that you just don't recognize it without the heat influence.
Yeah, you don't
You
attribute
know,
to the
yeah,
food or
it's not
something.
attributed to the right thing. So, take a few minutes, take a break, save your life. Your family will appreciate it. Your business will appreciate it. Your customers will appreciate it in the long haul. They may not like it right away because, well, why didn't you get to my yard today? Well, because they don't want to kill anybody. That's why we didn't get to your yard today.
Remember last year we had
You
that
know,
person who insisted we didn't come because it was
it
so hot
was
out.
too hot. Yeah, that's right.
Just
Yeah,
was
do not come. They were worried about us, and those are far and few between. Those, normally it's where you at, where you at, where you at. But yeah, I did not remember that till you just said that. But yeah, they were concerned about that. So, but anyways, well, Daniel, how's your eyes feeling, man?
good.
Good.
Yeah,
So
didn't have to put a contact in it. Didn't have to,
nice.
So, well, it'll be interesting to get the other one done and see what it's like. Just the
So
total picture.
So
It's kind of
those
hard
of
to
you
get a
that might have missed it, he had a cataract removed last Thursday, wasn't it?
yes.
And then he gets his next one done in what, 2 weeks? Is that
Yeah,
two
about
week
10
gaps?
days now.
10 days, and he'll be seeing clearly.
More
What's that? There's
clearly.
a song. I can see clearly now. The cataract's gone. All right, I'm not going to sing and put y'all through that. But hey, join us tonight in the Profit Circle. You guys in the Profit Circle with us. We'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got our monthly roundup, and I appreciate you guys hopping in here with us today. We certainly appreciate that. And as always, stay safe, be careful, and especially now, be sure to stay hydrated. We'll see you guys next time. And remember, profit is not a dirty word.